Today I'm going to tell you about 10 huge mistakes all investors must avoid while flipping houses. Hi everyone, I'm Lady from Lady and Jackhammer, and flipping houses is just my favorite thing to do. But it is also quite a pain in the butt. Let me tell you about 10 things you should avoid while flipping houses. Pay attention to those things and I guarantee your flipping career will be much smoother. Let's begin. Mistake number 1. Working with the wrong ARV. ARV stands for After Repair Value, meaning it is the market value of a house that has been through rehab in that particular area. To determine an ARV, we use comps or CMA. This is a list of sold houses in that same area. But not every house on that list is a good comp, because we must compare only those houses that are similar to our house of interest. Meaning you must take into consideration things like garage and basement, and how big the backyard is, and square footage, number of rooms, has pool, doesn't have pool, and actually a bit more stuff. Now you need to know the ARV is a range and not a precise number. So I'll make a separate video that will explore the whole concept and will explain what ARV is, but in the meanwhile, look at houses around your flip house that are no further than half a mile or a mile and that are most similar to it. Mistake number 2. Unsuitable location for a flip. So you got yourself a house under contract and you're going to flip it. Well, good for you. But I hope you researched the area a bit before you decided to flip there. I have 5 indicators for a suitable location for a flip. 1. An area with a low vacancy rate, which means people want to live there and they even want to buy their dream house over there. 2. We want that the average number of days on market for a rehab house will be around 60 to 90 days. This means that it is possible to sell a house in this area in a timely manner. But if you notice while you're doing your research that houses are staying for 180 days on market, you should really consider if this is the suitable area that you want to work in. Number 3. Typically, you would want this area to have more homeowners than renters. It means that people that live on this block have an ability, the financial ability, to buy a house. Number 4. Usually good areas for flipping are blue-collar neighborhoods or strong middle-class neighborhoods. I think it's probably easier to sell in those types of neighborhoods. But that being said, I'm not saying it's not a good practice to flip a house in a very high-end area or even in a very low-end area. Because I gotta tell you, I've been flipping also in a middle range and in a low-income area. It just means that your buyer's pool is smaller. And number 5. Another great indicator for a flipping area is the activity of other flippers. I know, it creates much more competition for us, but this is the wisdom of crowds. Mistake number 3. Over-rehab or under-rehab. So you have to look at other houses around yours to understand the level of rehab that it is expected by the people that want to live there. You don't want to over-rehab and put everywhere hardwood floors, even though luxury vinyl plank would still be enough. And the hardwood floors are so much more expensive than LVP. Because the rehab will cost you more money. But it doesn't necessarily mean that someone will want to pay over the ARV in that area. On the other hand, you don't want to be that guy or that girl that put a laminate countertop and had a closed concept kitchen when all the houses around you have open concept and islands and granite countertops. Okay? Just be like the rest. So mistake number 4. Overpricing the property. By now you did an amazing rehab on your flip. Truly astonishing. And you're absolutely positive that you can sell it at the top of the ARV, which is, for example, 280K. But the house looks so good and the market is so hot that you think that pricing it at 295 or even 300K will make much more sense. Well, I wouldn't recommend it. So when a house is overpriced, it tends to sit longer on the market, meaning you're paying holding costs and finance costs and all the other payments that we have and that I will talk about while waiting for an offer. So you must also consider that the buyer have an appraisal as well, and it might be closer to the actual ARV than to your gut feeling. On the other hand, when the house is priced right for the area, it will attract so much offers and it will attract them pretty fast, okay? Because if the rehab is really nice and the price is right for that area, those houses have a tendency to sell much faster. Another important thing is once you have an offer that is even lower than what you have expected, still run your numbers and consider it. Because remember that another offer might not come that quickly and you are still paying all the holding costs and the finance costs every month that goes by, and it just eats away at your profit. Now, by the way, if you enjoy this video, please like it and subscribe to this channel for more awesome information about real estate. Mistake number 5. Being optimistic with the rehab budget and the time frame. So what I mean to say here is that the pessimistic approach is probably better when it comes to a rehab. Assume things can go wrong, and it will go wrong. And take extra cushion for the rehab budget, as little as 12%, and I sometimes even take 20%. Yes, sometimes the situation in the house is so bad and there are so many things that I anticipate that might come up in the middle of the rehab that I even take 20%. And I really try not to kill the deal while overspending on rehab. So I was saying take extra cushion for the rehab budget and for the time that the GC is general contractor, told you that it will take. From my experience, I had a flip that by the GC's words was supposed to take 4 months, but in fact it was going on for 8 months. And it didn't happen just once. Flips have a tendency to take much longer than we expected them to be. Well, not much longer, but yes, it can take months, 2 months, or even 3 months longer than our first estimate. Mistake number 6. Getting one quote from one GC for your rehab. Please do me a favor and get several quotes from several GCs for your flip rehab. This is true for small type of project like 20K, and it is also true for a very big rehab project, 100K, 150, and whatever. So different GCs have different expertise and different ideas, and not only that you will see the high end of prices and the low end of prices, you will learn so much about rehab from conversation with as many contractors as possible. And you want it. You want that experience. You want to learn. You want to see through their eyes how they see the house, so later on you can be more professional. I can tell you that even their approach to life can affect the price that they are giving you. So I had this really big project with like 3-story house and a lot of things, almost everything had to be done there. And this one guy came by, a GC, and he was so pessimistic. The whole tour in the house, he was saying stuff like, oh my God, this is going to be a problem as well. Oh, this rehab is so big. I don't see it any less than 150K. Okay. Next day came a different GC, and he was in really good spirits, and he explained to me everything that he is going to do. He really talked to me at eye level and was giving me a lot of information. He didn't say the word problem even once, and he even said stuff like, oh, this is easy, don't worry about it, this is not a problem. Well, he didn't say this is not a problem, but he said, don't worry about it. And then he gave me a quote for around 100K. Guess which one I decided to work with. Mistake number 7. Now, if you're still here, I'm really glad that you're still here because I hope I'm helping you to learn so much. So please just click the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Now, mistake number 7. GC. Trust, but no verify. So I'm doing my real estate in Indianapolis, but I don't live there. And it's not easy to oversee a rehab, especially when you don't live in the same city. But this is an absolutely must. Your GC can be the most reliable person, but you still need to know that items are being done at the end, that there is progress. Because if you have no supervision over the work and over the rehab, what will prevent your GC from telling you that they are doing the work and that they need another draw, but never actually progressing and never actually doing the work itself? Yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. So how do you supervise? You send over there your agent and an inspector to take pictures and to report to you about what is going on in the house and what has been already done. Usually what I do, I send, if the project is very long, I send for like every week and a half or every week my inspector or my agent. And they take pictures of everything and they tell me what was done from the previous visit they had. And then I have my conversation with the GC. Now, you also don't pay too much in advance. Okay, this is very important, and this brings me to mistake number 8. Mistake number 8. Paying 50% upfront. No, no, no. Big no. Okay, this is how it's done. You pay some for the work to start, depending how big the budget is, and then you pay your GC by progress until you start working with this person on a regular basis and you establish the trust between you. You have no idea how many investors I know that paid 50% upfront and never heard from that person again. The place was never renovated and they never saw their money as well. So for example, let's say you have a project that is like 30,000. Okay, that the cost of the house to rehab 30,000. Then you pay at first for materials and whatever they need to start off with. I'd say no more than 5-7K. As lower as possible. Okay, but let's say 5 to 7K. And then you pay equal amounts that can be higher than 5K. You need to establish it with the person that you work with by progress. But you must check that the progress is being done. Okay, it means that your exposure to risk is smaller. You didn't just now give 15K to someone and you don't know what will happen. I mean, if something will happen, even at first stages, so you gave the person 5,000K and, well, what can you do? They disappeared and they didn't do the work. But it's so much better to lose 5K than to lose 15K. Don't you agree? We're almost done. Mistake number 9. Not taking holding costs into account while calculating your number. So when you run your numbers on a specific deal, you think about the purchase price, the closing cost, the rehab cost, and the closing cost. When you sell, the agent fees, and of course the interest you pay each month in case you're using finance. But you must also take into account holding costs. And your holding costs are utilities, property tax, insurance, lawn care, HOA. This can add up to few thousands. So please keep that in mind. Mistake number 10. Not having an exit strategy. Okay, I have to tell you something. Sometimes things go wrong. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Sometimes you just can't sell your flip for the amount you wanted to, or you can't even sell at all, because sometimes things like coronavirus can start a global pandemic that affects every aspect of life. I know, it's so far-fetched. And exactly because bad things happen, you need to be ready with an exit strategy in case you cannot sell the house. I actually have an animation video about it, and it's called Exit Strategies. But let me still tell you some of the most popular. So, one of them is knowing your bottom sale price. Another one is renting the house for a while, becoming a landlord, and then trying to sell again once things stabilize. Another option is to rent the house and refinance, which means getting some of the cash out. Another famous strategy, exit strategy, is actually using owner finance methods. Well, we are finished. If you want to know more about the good and the bad of real estate investing, please make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon. Also, please like and comment on this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.